to get certain information out without it being, something that is deemed, a violation of whatever, when all you're really trying to do is bring
So
the truth.
we have to stop worrying about trying to transgress their law, because the Supreme Court ruled that the indigenous people was perpetual enemies of the state, and that they can treat them in whatever manner they treat an enemy of the state. That's already settled in the Supreme Court of the United States.
We are perpetual enemies of the state.
Yes.
So with that being said, then if you run up against a brick wall unless the people begin to come together. And I'm always making appeals out there to listeners. I'm saying, if you work for some of these companies that you're creating, you got what do you call it? Like the internet not the content, but the platforms. You got to have an engine, and you got to have a this. Why aren't we creating our own things, our own? I mean, I know our form of communication was telepathy and drums and the mouth.
We actually been trained, but you got to remember, any one of us that try to do something that big, if they had a sufficient amount of suspicion that would be successful in reaching the people, they did either two things: defamed them and locked them up, or murdered them outright.
Which is true. So what do we do? I mean, I don't keep saying that, because I mean, at the end of the day, what we need are solutions. We need solutions. I mean, everybody's throwing this, that, there, and that. But what
right.
do we do?
So the solution to the problem right now is awakening to the grassroots. This is where the issue is stuck at, in the grassroots. The leadership across the land is already unified. It's just that the people got to realize that this is about to happen so that it can happen. The people don't realize it yet.
Sharing this video as far as you can.
That's
other videos that you've done to get it out to for people to see it, and then start asking questions, and just having discussion groups with your meetings with your with your kinfolk, things that you can do, even if it's a small group of 5 or 2, but start like the old each one teach one, each one reach one. We need to do something in order to get on one accord with this. And that to me seems like the issue. We gather together, but we're not assembled together. In other words, to me, when I think of assembly, I think of a puzzle with pieces. You could throw the 1,000 puzzle piece on the table, and it's gathered. But until it's assembled, you don't have the full picture.
Right.
And that's what we are. We're like 1,000 pieces, a millions of billions pieces of puzzle pieces thrown on the table of life, but not assembled together. And that's the only way I see from my finite mind that we can even begin to tackle this monumental task of freeing ourselves from something that we've been entrained in for so long. I mean, folks are literally, you don't even know sometimes that you've been entrained and hypnotized. What did the Pope say? Give me the child for the first 7 years, and I'll show you the man. Or they said, even train up a child in the way that he should go, and when he's old, he won't depart. And we got a lot of folks that have been trained, and it's hard, if you will, to crack that nut. They're not letting any new info in.
Right, because they took sides with a doctrine that doesn't serve their interests, because the doctrine has something called a persuasive argument attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
Stop arguing doctrine and just start asking for receipts first and foremost. That's why I put all those receipts. Like when you go down my page ain't regular. Them all receipts. Some of them you gotta be intuitive enough to read them like a tarot card, but some of them is an outright statement. Some of them is book references to tell you where to find certain stuff. Right? Even my videos is the receipt. When I'm telling you, look up the words I'm using. Look up, when I say look up fractional reserve banking, so you'll know what it is. Then you know how they're stealing your money. Right? Look up the difference in get you a Black's Law dictionary, and go in there and look at what the word used to be and what it is today. It's not the same.
Right.
When you can see the evolution of the terms change, then you can see the corralling of the mind. Right? Like today, we say more. It's a catch-all. Anybody that look like us is classified now as a Moor. Good Moor, dirty Moor don't matter. They still a Moor. But when you go back before 1492 Ain't nobody over here called more.
Now, so we have to unlearn some stuff, and for a lot of folks, they were like, "Look, Dag, I just got out of being Negro, becoming Black, and I just went to, and I thought more was the thing." Well, you know, we have to be open to change. You have to be open to progressive knowledge. And I mean, one thing about me is I've never been stuck anywhere that I couldn't get out of mentally. If you know, me being a pastor, you know, in ministry for 25 years and a pastor for 10 of those last 10, and then when Chu slapped me upside the head, I just like, oops, gotta leave that. I mean, I've never, you know, I'm not the kind, but not some folks are not that easily moved out of, you know, their entrainment and their indoctrination, and so it becomes difficult because, you know, in their minds what they're doing has helped them, but if they really looked at it critically, they're like it's like they're in a rut that they're just digging deeper. They really haven't going up, they haven't ascended, they're going down.
You remember, it's a chapter in the Circle 7 called Misery. It started out, weak and insufficient as thou art, O man, and good. There is one thing in which thou art obstinate and moveth not, and his name is misery. Because of the suffering, we latch on to the suffering. Because we are empathetic people, when we believe that something drastic has happened to our people, we're going to ride that suffering out, right? Because that's the grievance.
Mm-hmm.
Is our people is got a very unique characteristic. I don't want to see you going through nothing I don't want to go through. And if I come across you dealing with something that I don't want to deal with, I'm going to do everything I can to enlighten you on how to change what you're going through so you can be in a less traumatic situation. Each one teach one. This is where it comes from. If I don't want you to go through nothing I don't want to, why would I inflict it upon you and force you to go through it? That's the enemy's perspective. That's what his agenda is. He's using your energy to harvest. He's putting you through the stuff he don't want to go through, and you so caught on the misery and the empathy of the misery that you attach to the suffering while he reaping the benefit.
Yeah, you're right, but I mean, like I said, but at the end of the day, it's all about, you know, how we can come together and stop fighting each other, and everyone has to ask him or herself, what is my motivation? You know, everybody wants, you know, if we get great ideas, and I'm an idea factory, but one thing I come to realize is that even though I have a lot of what I think are damn good ideas, they're not all for me to put into effect. Right. Not, yeah, I'm not supposed to execute them, but I am supposed to share them. You know, somebody else has to pick that one up. But if it's coming through me I call myself the idea factory, then I should give it freely, because at the end of the day, it's going to be beneficial. So if somebody gets some kind of financial gain from it, fine. But larger, if it's helping us as a whole, then that's the important thing, knowing that we can't do everything. You sprinkle seeds out there, and, you know, like I said, one plants, another, you know, waters, and we used to say in church, and God gives the increase to it. But it's the same thing. You may not have your name on everything that is good that comes out of this, but at least you know you gave your positive energy to it, and it's going to benefit the whole. And I think some folks are afraid of not getting their just due, or their just, you know, they want their 15 minutes.
Listen, our culture teaches us this: whatever you can do to contribute to the collective, if you do that, the collective will make sure you're taken care of, because it's a mutual exchange of benefit. Mm-hmm. But anything that you do that only serves your own interest and has no benefit to anybody other than one person, the community never supports that. Mm-hmm. Right? So why do we buy music?
Why do we?
Music is our culture. It's a critical part of our culture. We can talk through the music what we can't say openly regular, right? So you a producer, Tracy Chapman. You're a producer, Bob Marley. You're a producer, Sam Cooke. And you're a producer, the OJs and the Temptations. And we know we got a message in the music. Somebody got to remind us it's a message in the music. Because when we can't talk politically in the realm of politics, when we can't talk because somebody got us stifled in politics. Politics is a well-controlled and well-organized scam.
But if you break that word down into the two words it is, poly, many, ticks, bloodsuckers, it's right what it says, just what it is.
And right there in the word.
It's right there.
And so just be your best self and make your interests also serve the interests of the most people you can. Some people can only muster up enough inner light to serve 10 people in their lifetime. But those 10 people might go on to serve tens of thousands each because of that contribution. Because you did your part, you've affected tens of thousands just by teaching those 10. Right? Each one teach one, we all gonna reach something. Right? So when we understand what's going on the land, the more of the mothers, really, it's more important that the mothers get this information than anybody else because it's their shit. The sisters got what you call first right to the earth right, which is the earth-born birthright. Earth is a feminine planet, and it's supposed to be ruled under matriarchy. The mitochondrial in the woman is also found in the soil of the earth. Right? That's because the woman is tied to the earth through mitochondria, and she blesses the man to have mitochondrial as well. Right? And the love of the women ties into the love of the child's mother that's performing the function to make his mitochondria produce more output, which raises his consciousness to higher levels. This is what they call, what they say, raise yourself to infinite wisdom. Right? That's what he's talking about. Make your service, make the mothers so proud that they all want their sons or their daughter to be like you. And when you get the respect of the mothers, you change the landscape. Just by them feeling in their heart that somebody came that can see the problem to get us out, changes the vibrational frequency, and then it make the bloodsuckers start running the other way because they can't tolerate love energy. They become violent, aggressive, and most of the time it be inflicted upon themselves.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I'm trying to keep myself, like I said, my brain is racing and all, you always think, but I'm thinking back in terms of when you hear folks say, you chose to be here in this time. We make those determinations as to whether or not we're going to incarnate at a certain time to be in the earth realm, which is like the prison planet and the university all in one. So we chose to be here. So if we chose to be here, we knew or we felt that we could make a difference, whether it be in our suffering or in our joy, whatever success or lack thereof, that it was going to make a difference. Because who would pick something so horrible, if you will, as a time of what we've seen, unless we knew that the outcome was positive. That in the
right. So just like when you're going out, your past life flashes before your eyes. When you coming in, your future life is laid out before your face. You would know how to navigate it better if they didn't shine them bright ass lights on you in the delivery room. Because you're supposed to birth a child in ambient light. This is why we need our doula centers back. They took all the doula centers and turned them into hospitality places. The places of hospitality to us used to be the whorehouse. So now we prostitute ourselves for medical research and don't even know it. That's why they always practicing, because they don't know what they're doing.
Wow. That's interesting.
That's why they so quick to snatch out uterus and chop off breasts. They call that desecration of the holy places. Each one of the women, when they self-realize, is a holy place. She is an entire temple dedicated to creation itself.
Churches are laid out as a woman's holy place, when you coming down the aisle or going into the, so yeah.
And Dr. Bean tell it like this. She said, heaven is between the legs of the black woman. That's what Dr. Bean tell you, because ain't nobody get in to earth without going through the portal of life.
True.
They can make many trans testicles as they want to. They can get them artificial everything. But when that womb of a natural born woman is going to naturally produce what they science is trying to reproduce.
Speaking of which, I just saw, thank you, Sister Fairy L. I know she's in the chat. She turned me on to yesterday to an season 10 of American Horror Story on Hulu. And so I looked at the last 4 episodes 7, 8, 9, and 10. And I think I shared just a little teeny bit with you. But in that, since you mentioned that, in that they have gone so far, they have this like this so-called experimentation because they were trying to put hybrids on the earth that were part alien and part human and replace all the humans.
We all hybrids.
But this is what this thing, but they were impregnating men as well as women. So men their stomachs were growing in. So the one guy was like, how is this thing going to come out? And basically it was cesarean. You know, they cut the stomach open.
Okay, but now what that's telling you is it's a parasite.
Well, it came out like the alien movie with the thing that. So.
It's a parasite. Men don't have a uterus. Men can't naturally have children and carry a baby to gestate.
Well,
but a parasite can grow under your skin without distinguishing your gender.
Mm-hmm.
All you got to do is look up bot flies, and it'll be in men and women, dogs and cats. It's a parasite.
Bot flies.
B-O-T, bot fly.
Oh, bot fly. Okay.
Yep. If you look them up on YouTube, you'll see them pull the parasite out, and they be in cats, they be in dogs, they be in people. But it's a fly lays egg under the skin, and it grows under the skin, and it becomes a huge node. They got to pull it out or let it mature and fly out on its own. But by the end, it can cause you so many problems that you probably won't make it through the body's attempt to discard the bot fly.
And that's funny. Not strange. It's called a bot fly because almost you think of robots or something that's not human or whatever. But yeah, but they're and that for those of you who have not seen that, America again, I guess thank you, Sister Feria L. But that episode, season 10, episodes 7, 8, and 9, they're really, I was telling you, dropping real historical information. It's Eisenhower, who was his vice president? I think it was Nixon. After JFK is in it, and the other one, LBJ, Marilyn Monroe, all the stuff we saw happen, and it's it's tied in with some really wild stuff. You just got to see it to fathom it. But we know that they put truth out in movies. They mix it with fiction, but it's a lot of truth in there, and they'll sometimes make things seem so incredulous. And you're like, oh, that was just you need to look at it with a more critical eye because there are, it's a karmic thing for them. Like we told them, they may think it's entertainment, but we told them. We don't have to tell them that we're telling them. We put it in movies. We are the entertainment industry. And that's what I was trying to say. All these things, these distractions, looking at shows and series, it's always been tied, to mind control.
Yeah, well, they did a movie in the 50s about the CIA infiltrating the news media. I'm not sure if it was the Maltese Falcon or another movie, but it's a famous movie from the 50s, and it's about they learned it from Operation Paperclip. Mm. It was a Hitler propaganda technique because they didn't know how to use media for propaganda at that time. That's why when you go back and you look at old clips of people talking in lectures from the 50s, they telling you the flat out truth. Whereas you listen to them in the 70s and the 60s, now they starting to tell you bald-faced lies as if you're too stupid to see through it.
Many were. Many were. Yeah, many were. Are you up for, before we close, are you up for some questions? Because there have been questions that, I don't know if you were looking at the chat, but there were some questions that popped up. I know there was one question that was up a couple of times asking you to explain further about who Big Mama is. When I hear you say Big Mama, it seems like you're calling Big Mama in the etheric realm is sort of like Gaia, or like we say, the mother of everything, and then Big Mama, like everybody has a Big Mama, you know.
So
too.
everybody's Big Mama is a replica of Prime Creator,
Okay.
right? We all know her because she flat out tell you what she feels. She don't care. Fuck your feelings. I'm gonna tell you, you need to go wash your stinking ass. Right? So I don't care if you get your feelings hurt. I shouldn't have never had to tell you. Right? Or Big Mama say, that's not how you raise that child. If you raise that child that way, you're gonna have a predator when you get older. Right? Big Mama.
Right.
The one take her shoe off and throw it across the room and bop you upside your head when you ain't listening. Big Mama. She behaves that way because she's the embodiment in the physical form of Prime Creator, who be telling you what's right.